any experience that maybe someone can say is a negative experience is just clarity, right? So you look at that situation and I think he's mentioned it to me before, something like you can say, thank you for that.
Yeah.
Because then I learned this from that and I get more clarity about what I want.
It's just a stepping stone to even greater success.
Those highs and those lows, if we're judging that as good and as bad, because each one is a judgment, one's more preferred, right? It feels good, it's exciting.
Yeah.
There's going to be a low. There's going to be a hangover. And then because you were at that high, attached to that high, well, now that you got to balance out and it's going to lead you to a low. And then you're like, why does this keep on happening to me? Or you keep on judging it as bad versus that gratitude. So you mentioned the frequencies of feelings, right? It's like you got this anger, this shame, this guilt, these low frequency feelings. If you get to gratitude, that's like the foundation where the seed grows.
Well, welcome back to the Remember You podcast, the place where we peel back the layers, reclaim the parts of ourselves we've abandoned, and remember who we really are beneath all the noise. And I'm so glad that you're here. Whether it's your first time tuning in or your 10th, you've made it back. Welcome home. Before we begin, let's take a moment of stillness, just one breath, taking just a moment to feel your body, letting it all go. And now that we're all here, let's begin.
Hey, Michelle. How are you?
Good.
Thank you for joining us today. We appreciate having you on Remember You podcast. Could you tell us a little bit more about you? We've seen you, heard from you a lot over the past few episodes. Obviously, you're one of our co-hosts, but we would just like to get to know you a lot better during this next hour and a half, where we learn more about your experience as a lawyer and working with people on death row with indictments such as rape, drugs, murder, things like that. And then how you took the turn from being a lawyer, dealing with that, into generational wealth and legacy planning. So we're super excited to have you today.
Thank you.
Yeah, this is awesome. So tell us about your journey on becoming a criminal defense lawyer.
Okay, so I guess I never wanted to be a defense lawyer. I remember when I said I wanted to go to law school, my cousin said, oh, you want to be a prosecutor? And I said, I don't want to deal with criminals. And that was the first thing. I was young, and that was before even law school. So then I went to law school, and I'm there, and I'm in a criminal law class. And I'm, it's a Socratic method. So you stand up, the professor talks to you, and you just have to answer. And I got a murder case, right? It was the strangest thing. And I did well at answering the question. And everyone was amazed, and I got compliments later. And then I go on through law school thinking I'm going to do estate planning. I did a estate planning clinic. I graduated law school. I passed the bar, and then I wanted to start working. And what I was getting was like DUI cases. That was the first case I got the day I got sworn in, right? And I'm like, okay, so I started doing DUIs, and that's the last thing I want to be doing. I don't care about DUIs. And then I got introduced to an attorney that had over like 30 years experience doing criminal defense, and he did a lot of murder trials. He was an amazing trial attorney. And that was the thing I have to keep in mind, is that I always thought I wanted to be a trial attorney too. Even though I'm thinking estate planning, I'm thinking trials, and I'm watching shows like Cold Case and Law and Order and Special Victims Unit, and that has all this sexual assault stuff.
So you manifested it to yourself.
Wow.
Like, what the hell?
TV programming.
Yes. Now that I think about it, it's like, why was I watching that stuff? And then how I ended up doing it for.
That's interesting.
When I didn't want, like I said, I didn't want criminal defense, but that's what I ended up doing. And then I was having fun because I did want to do trials, and it was fun to go and do trials with my partner. He was just fun to learn from, fun to do trials with. And then the first trial we did together was murder.
So if I take a step back, for some of our listeners, when you're looking to be a lawyer, you go to school, you pass your bar, and how do you find a job And how did you land on this position? There's a lot of opportunity, right? Especially in Chicago.
Well, actually, there wasn't at the time because it was like, I don't know, if it was 2006 I went to law school, so 2009.
Okay.
2003 to 2006. 2007, I got licensed. So it's around 2008 or 2007. I'm over here, end of 2007. I'm trying to look for.
Oh, and we had that whole issue with
It wasn't a good time.
the housing market dropped.
Yeah, it was not a good time. So I wasn't getting anything. That's why I had to go on my own.
Got it.
I started my own practice with another attorney, Gonzalez. Both of us went to the same law school. She was in Chicago. We started together. We started getting the DUIs together and then trying to figure it out, knowing public defenders that we could call that could give us some guidance on how to defend, how to go to court and say what we need to say, because there's a process.
Yes.
How you do things in the courtroom. And so then before law school, I was actually at a personal injury law firm. And so I went back to those attorneys or tried to go back, and I found one attorney that I spoke with him and said, this is what I'm trying to do. Can you help me? And so he said, work for me as a clerk, and then I'll introduce you to people. And that's how
and isn't it, and this is one of the things of why we created Remember You, right? It's schooling and how some of it is just not created correctly for our society. And so you had to start as a clerk after you've just been through law school and spent all that money and all that time, and you still didn't have the tools quite yet to actually be able to go to trial and represent your clients.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And well, you have to still think of what's your goal, right? And how can you get to your goal? And even though you have to make money, so you have to go and work somewhere until you get where you're going, right? And so that was just a step. Like I was not wanting to go and talk to him because I didn't want to go work for him, right? That's in my mind. But I kept having dreams. I should go talk to him. So I finally
You were being funneled.
I was kind of being guided
divinely.
You were being groomed by Law and Order, and then you started going into school, and then the market. The market timing is very interesting too. How it was all timing in that regard.
Environment and what's pushing you, and what are you watching? What are you taking in? And how do you go about getting what you want to get? How I happened to work at a personal injury law firm before even law.
You were like in a hypnotic state with the Law and Order and all of that, and a trance of your own that you were manifesting to yourself, and you didn't know it.
I didn't even realize that was going on. Otherwise, I would have been watching other things.
Right. And then you take a turn, and like your divine, intuition is coming down on you, saying, "Okay, go talk to this guy. He's got something special for you that you need to learn."
Yes, I had to go, and that's how it turned out. And it was just months later. I don't know how long. It was fast. He said, "Okay, talk to this guy, criminal defense attorney." I talked to him on the phone, and we say we're going to meet. I pick a place that's not even open. We go there. We can't even go in. I have to get in his car. And he had a weird vehicle. He's an attorney, and he was driving like a red truck or whatever, pickup truck. It was like whatever.
Yeah.
And so I get in, and he says he's got someone, Spanish speaking. Call them and see, if we can get a meeting and get hired.
Okay.
And that's what I did.
And this was the guy with 30 years experience?
My partner.
Yeah.
And so his background was insane. I mean, he was a Chicago police officer, homicide detective. Wow. And he went to law school working for DEA undercover buying drugs. So while he's at John Marshall, he's going and getting drugs, coming to class late. Wow. And so, and it's insane. So that's his life, right? And he's having a family, having kids. And he so after law school, he was asked to be assistant state's attorney. They are. So you start off as a prosecutor. So he did that for a number of years, and that's how he was able to shift into criminal defense. And, you make a lot of money with personal injury, so you can do that as an attorney. So he was doing that both, see? But then he went away for a period, and when he came back was right when I was starting.
Okay.
And that's how he needed to begin again, and I needed to just begin. So he was going to mentor me and teach me, and it just happened to be it was going to be criminal defense.
Okay.
And that's how it just started. Murder trial.
Yeah, tell us about
what was that like?
Yeah, so it was a cold case in Aurora, King County, and it was a nice courtroom. And so I'm just there and helping to pick the jury and do that kind of stuff because it's my first trial. And the guy, he was so young and he was just a Latin king. And it was a lot of cold case murders of Latin kings at the time in Aurora, a lot of that happened that never, I guess, went to trial or never got resolved until I came in, my partner. And so he had gotten hired, I think it was through Yellow Pages, they found him. And so he got hired.
That is old. The Yellow Pages. I don't even think they're still around anymore.
Yeah, that's not the way to hire anymore. But we had a lot of referrals then after that. So he had the Yellow Pages, and then we got the not guilty. The client jumped out of his seat when he heard the verdict, right? Because, it's a high stress situation for your clients because of what they have to go through. That's why I say for estate planning people, like, why would you want to be in a courtroom? My clients for criminal defense never wanted to be in a courtroom. They were so uncomfortable. They always wanted their attorney there next to them.
Yeah.
So then you're going through this high stress trial. And that's what people don't even keep in mind. This is high stress for the person because they can have minimum 45 years.
Wow.
And so that's like a life sentence. Even though later when they get sentenced, these judges do 90 years. It's like ridiculous. But they give them excessive amounts of time that they can't even do. They're not going to live that long.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. But you see the personalities of the people you defend, and what they're able to feel or endure or even not act like it's such a horrible thing. And I'm thinking, if they can be happy and fight what's going on, and why can't we? We're out. We're out,
free.
Not being charged with stuff and not having to deal with this stuff. And there's women that are supporting these men and paying for their attorneys. And you see that environment, and it's interesting because it's like, wow, what they're willing to do. And
would you say that the majority of the clientele that you had, were they mostly found guilty, or were they, put on trial and found not guilty? And what percentage, I
guess with us, they had better results.
Yeah.
Because we were actually going to trial for them. Not every attorney is going to go to trial for you.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the cases get resolved by pleas, so plead guilty.
Yeah.
And then when you do that as an attorney, maybe your offers are not as good.
Yeah.
So I saw the difference in how when we were defending people, the lower sentences, even if we did a plea, the sentence was lower than maybe the co-defendant just because of who the attorney was and how the case got resolved. And because they knew we would go to trial, a lot of attorneys will set it for trial and not go to trial on that date. So a lot of trials don't go. So if we were set at the same time as other people, we were likely going to be the ones that get to go to trial, and the other ones would be thrown out that day. So you walk into a courtroom, they're watching you. If they don't know who you are, they got to know us. But if they're switch out of assistant state's attorneys, they don't know who you are. They think, oh, you're like everyone else. You're not going to go to trial. They're watching you and they're waiting for you to come up to them and say, hey, how can we work this out? I'll make him plea. Not what we were doing at all.
You were actually out to help.
Yeah, we're actually doing
to win.
We wanted to do the trials. Was the other thing. We actually enjoyed doing the trials, and we wanted to win.
Yeah.
So you're in I'm assuming very competitive environment.
Yeah, very competitive. And so there's the energy of that you got to consider is you're going in, and there's the judges that don't want you to go to trial and the prosecutors that don't want you to go to trial, and they're thinking you're like everyone else.
Now, why don't they want you to go to trial? What's in it for them?
There's a lot of work involved. It's work to do a trial, and you have to, let's say they have 300 cases a day. I don't know,
Yeah.
It's a backed up system.
It's a lot of cases they got to go through every day.
Yeah.
It's normal status calls, it's not even a hearing. And then they have to do hearings. Then they got to do a trial that takes up their whole week or 2 weeks or more, who knows?
Yeah.
Depending on how they set it up with witnesses. So it's just a lot of work, can be tiring, stressful. And depending on how you look at it, right? And that's why we would think, you're a prosecutor, you knew this is what it involved. So why don't you just enjoy it more? Right?
Yeah.
We were enjoying it, but they weren't, right? So there's an energy there and a way they will deal with you because of it. But some of them understood, if you just wanted to go away, just give an offer they can take, right?
Right.
So some of them would do that. They were smarter. It's like, you don't want to deal with this, just do an offer. And it would happen the day of trial.
Yeah.
A lot of the time.
Because was it mostly the prosecutor just didn't want to deal with the paperwork and the time and the effort that it was going to take because...
Well, I think it just depended on them and knowing, is this worth fighting over time when I can just give them an offer that I'd be comfortable with and they can take.
Yeah.
Like some of these people, like one of the murder trials we did in Cook County, the kid was in jail for 4 years.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So he had time. And of course, it's a murderer. So they're not likely on murders to just, give you an offer that you would want to take, because no one's going to do that. Even 20 years is a lot.
So tell us about the murder case. So that was a young kid. I know you can't tell us, it's confidential, like too much information, but what was the predicament he got himself in? Did you get him out of it, or was he found guilty? And
yeah, well, like the one I'm thinking of in Cook County, we got in, and I think 4 months later we did the trial.
Wow.
Yeah,
okay.
It was very quick, and then we got him a not guilty. And doing that trial,
and so how do you kind of navigate that not guilty for that person? Do you, have to really believe that he's not guilty?
No. Like, I never had to. I always thought in my mind, it's about, can they prove it? And then
whether or not he's guilty, actually or not.
Yeah, I didn't care ever if they were guilty. I didn't see it that way. When I met with them, I know they thought I cared.
Yeah.
I think they thought my partner cared. We didn't care. And so they're trying to convince us they're not guilty. But we never cared about that part. We cared about doing what we love to do,
which was proving in a court of law. Do you have the evidence?
Play the game. Play the game.
It's a game.
It's interesting because it's like anything in life, right? It's your theater, and you decide which character that you want to play, and you're playing the game.
Right. And then the character we're playing is the person that gets paid to defend defendants, right? And you're thinking, okay, I'm going to get more money here than over there as a prosecutor. So that's the game, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's about how much money am I going to be able to make this way? Or in my case, I had to just make money.
Well, it's interesting because we can get a little bit more into this, but money is a currency exchange of energy, right? So if you're going to spend your time, and your energy working with somebody, it's about what's your energy worth, right? And so you need to keep that safe. And it sounds like you were doing that. And and it leads you into why you're doing a lot of what you're doing today, right? It's like an energy exchange. And
you got to keep in mind that when I'm meeting with these people, they don't come off as horrible people.
Yeah.
They are people that want your help.
Mm-hmm.
So they're like excited about that. You can come in and say how you're going to help them.
Yeah.
They're listening to you. They're letting you do whatever needs to be done and feeling almost like they can see another vision for their future, that I can get a not guilty with these two.
And that's interesting. So did you go into these trials and working with these cases, helping them visualize what something different might be, or did you not even know you were doing that yet?
No, now I do it. Now I say you got to, focus and see this happening, and this can happen. Back then, I wasn't seeing it that way. We were just actually giving them the hope that they didn't have.
Yeah.
By meeting with them and saying, we think we can get you not guilty, and telling them how we can do it.
Yeah.
And how we're going to question everybody and how we're going to deal with the evidence. They were really clear on that, which other attorneys don't do. They'll go and meet with them and read the evidence to them. It's like, how are you helping them? Tell them how you're going to help them.
Yeah.
What's the strategy when you're going to go to trial? And they don't get that all the time. So when we were doing it, it was a whole different thing. And so you could see their eyes light up and get happy that someone would actually help them.
Yeah. So you were like we were talking about this before we started recording, but you were like the coach of the football team. You looked at everything, you looked at your opponents, and then you figured out a strategy of what's going to align and how it's going to help them.
Yeah, and we can do that in the first meeting. Like before we even saw evidence, we just met with them and said, okay, what are they accusing you of? What are they saying? And we can just do it. We can know if the emotion to suppress was good here, if we could start with that. If we were going to go to trial, which we always went to trial anyways, and we tell them we're going to go to trial. And then because we know we go to trial so much and we get not guilties that they know and they will give us lower offers, you got that option. We're going to tell you, we're not going to say that you should take it because we rather go to trial and get the not guilty.
Yeah.
But it's your choice.
Yeah.
Make that
interesting.
So the people that you're working with, they're coming from a place of obviously a defensive state, right? And they're coming into this life-changing moment and coming to you, and you play it as a game. Knowing you're somebody who reads energy really well, and you're associating with people who are on the opposite side of the spectrum of where you're at, right? You're free, they're not. They come from a different background, different upbringing, different experiences, gang life, all those types of things, right? How did that energize you or affect you? And
so keep in mind, maybe my ability to read energy now is developed from the 17 years of doing this for work.
Mm-hmm.
But just as a generally with defendants, they never had a bad energy. And I think only once. My partner would always say, I never met the devil. But me, I think I did once.
Well, who's
Tell
that?
us
Yeah,
about him.
let's talk about that.
Or her. I guess I just assumed it was a male. It could be a woman.
It was a him. And so everyone I've ever met that I defended, they weren't bad people. They were good people. They were nice to talk to.
Mm-hmm.
They were pleasant. They didn't do or say anything inappropriate to me. Respectful, So that's what's amazing to me. You can meet regular guys out in the world and they can be horrible, right?
Right.
So they weren't like that. And they were actually sometimes even happy and, just happy that we're there to help, right? But the one time I did feel like I wouldn't want to defend him, and we never did. We didn't get hired. It was just the way he was talking about the situation, the way he was talking about, like he didn't really care. Yeah, he would be that way. That's not how everyone else talks.
What was the conviction?
I don't know if it was like a murder charge. And, there's a personality too. Like they could care less if they hired you.
Mm-hmm.
And so you sense that personality. But yeah, I don't even know if it was a murder. I just remember and it must have been, because if I felt that sense of I did meet the devil.
Yeah.
He doesn't care, and he would do things again. And that's the thing. You're meeting them to tell them how you're going to help them get out of this. So they're never actually admitting to doing anything. Right. I don't know if...
Yeah, do they come in and say, have you ever had somebody come in and be like, yeah, I definitely did this, but I need you to defend me?
No, I don't think anyone ever admitted to it. And we never even cared
either way.
Ask them to tell me, hey, tell me if you really know.
Yeah, because it would affect the way that you would defend them.
Yeah. And then when you put them on the stand, it's just a mess.
Curious about all right, so the other side. So you have the prosecutor or I don't know what you would call them. So you got you're the defense team, right? And you got victims on the other side. What was that experience like for you, being on the other side, seeing other people being affected by this trial in a different way?
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, we're there to protect our client.
Right.
Whoever hired us, we were there for them.
And so you had complete focus on,
I didn't care about anyone else.
Because really what the problem is we effectively believe like there's this victim, right, in society. Right. When we're looking at what you're doing, some people are going to be like, oh my gosh, she's so cold-hearted. But you were protecting the innocent on the other side.
Right. If you think about it, my client's the victim.
Yeah.
My client's the innocent one, and you guys are messing with him, and I'm over here protecting him, right?
And a lot
we
of
do.
times the people that you have in that chair have been victimized their entire life. And so
Yeah.
now they're being victimized again
Yeah.
on these trials when how do we 100% know
Right.
if that was them or not? And
That's the point.
and I think
right?
about that, like we think about that when we talk to people about concealed carry and stuff like that. If you're going to have in Illinois, if you're going to have a concealed carry, you have to decide when you're going to take that gun out and actually use it to protect your life. You could be defending that person who took that gun out to literally defend his family or his life.
Right.
And
no one was there.
who is to say that like that person went on to kill all the neighbors down the street too, but you're protecting that person so that they have a right to bear arms and protect themselves.
Correct.
We kind of have a society where it's like you're guilty until proven innocent.
Yes.
Right.
That's the thing. When you get a jury, they're coming in thinking he's guilty. And the point of the whole system is you're not guilty until proven guilty, right? And so it's proof beyond a reasonable doubt. Let the state prove him guilty. That's your job. I'm not helping you.
Yeah.
And they sometimes expected you to help them with, agreeing to what a witness is going to say. No, you put them on and let's see.
That's interesting.
Now what comes up is like the industrialization of the prison system.
Yeah.
Where it is a for-profit system, right? And so these people who you're defending are the victims of this system.
Right. And
right?
so think about it. Why say, hear no evil, speak no evil, see no evil. And so if you think about the people that are my clients and what they're seeing growing up, what they're hearing growing up, experiencing growing up, and then what they end up singing about in their rap songs. They're the victims of this society of it's cool to look up to a rapper that's talking about all these negative things.
Yeah, pop you out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's okay to sell it to them and then make them believe that this is success.
Yeah.
This is success, and listen to it and try and embody it, because then if you become this, you'll make a lot of damn money. You'll be successful. But what ends up with most of them, they end up in jail.
Yeah.
They end up having to defend themselves. And it's a horrible environment because their mindset is not even strong enough to handle something like that.
Well, and even above and beyond that, and this question's going to take us a little off course, and I swear will bring us back. But what do you think the difference is between a jail and our current school system?
Well, I don't really know about our school system. I know.
So if you think of a jail,
encourage.
I was thinking about this just to interject, like the school buses as I'm driving through town and picking up, my son from school. I'm seeing the school buses, and it's like the only difference is the paint and the words on the bus, right? And that there's no barricades on the windows. And then when we went into school for orientation last night, it's a system that, yes, it provides opportunity to be able to connect with others, but you are structured in this way where you are fitting into a box and you have to fit into the system, whether you're working for corporate America afterwards or you get spit into a penitentiary.
And you think about like a jail or a penitentiary in a school. There's so many. So besides the buses that they transport the school kids or the criminals on, it's the same type of thing. Then you put them into the same lighting, the same four walls. You barely get to go out. You're structured on the minutes and the time. You have recess, just like you have time outside in the courtyard.
Control, even no matter if you commit a crime or anything, it's all control, right? How much can I control you in your life and what you see on the TV and what you take in and what you live because of what you're taking? Like my example, I'm watching these stupid TV shows. And thinking that's what an attorney does and that's what I want to do is go to court when I could have done something different.
Yeah, that's really interesting. It's like it's all in the frame of mind that you have, just like the frame of mind that we look at and what we do with our kids, how we raise them, what they see, what they hear.
I say Glencoe and Wilmette, what are they doing over there? It's completely different than what's over there in Inglewood, right? And so why can't we shift? Why can't we shift it?
Yeah.
There's a whole, it is a whole system that is integrated where it's the entertainment industry, law and order, to gangster rap and all that stuff, it just indoctrinates people. I mean, I grew up with that stuff, and it's like you're repeating these words and you're hymning it and humming it. And we all know affirmations are embodying something deep down.
That's what I noticed over the weekend. I'm hanging out with my cousin, and he was always listening to like this rap stuff. And I didn't realize, but what he memorized was the positive.
I know.
Like he was singing it the other day, and there's positive lyrics in there.
There
And
is.
he memorized those. And so,
Pick and choose, right?
but you see my clients, they're making videos of what they're singing about is negative.
Yeah.
The killing and the rape and the sleeping with whoever and all this negative stuff.
And so if you put that on and this might lose some of our viewers, but if you think about that on a radio station that you tune into and the vibration that you're tuning into, they're tuning into fear, victimization,
And they don't even
jealousy,
know it. They don't even know.
repression.
Why am I submitting my mind, my body, my soul
Yes.
to all this stuff?
And
It's like they don't even realize they're doing it and they're affecting.
And then if you look at like some of these more wealthy kids who have been raised to have a different viewpoint, be a lot more free, have a different access to different education systems.
Area to live.
And it's
They
not to
don't, they're not programmed in that fear because they just don't have that. So their parents and their people who they're around, they've elevated. Now there's situations and people in those communities that can push fear. And I say there's always like a shadow to the light and the dark, right? We've talked about this. The question then is, how would you suggest to like your clientele and listeners out there who are fearful, but know that there's something better out there to help elevate themselves and tune into a different radio station?
Yeah, so just be selective about what you're absorbing, who you're hanging around with. And then what's your intention about your life? What life do you really want to have and believe you can have it and work towards it, right?
And embody it and feel it, right? You live by the feelings, and what you feel is what you attract.
Yeah.
Not just what you're thinking.
What was your life like having this world of, because it can easily be judged upon you for defending these cases and these people. So what was that like for you?
And so, because I had a partner, it was fun, right? So, like, it's
You guys were, yeah.
And we were having the best time. He was hilarious, right? And I'm learning from him, and it was just fun. But as time went on, and he got sick, and we had to go in and do these trials, and he's not well. And then the people you deal with, like prosecutors, assistant state's attorneys, judges, that some of them have an energy of they dislike what we're doing.
Yeah.
Some of them don't. They could care less. They enjoy what they're doing too. They like being the judge and they like ruling on motion to suppress evidence, right? They like it, but some don't. And then you could sense the energy.
Yeah.
Some are you could feel their energy of the anger of that you're even setting this for trial, the nerve of you. Of course he's guilty. Why don't you just plead him out? It's like,
Wow.
Are you serious? That's not what we're here for. You should understand that part. We're private criminal defense attorneys. We get paid. We're not a public defender. Public defenders, I know they got a lot of cases. Maybe they want to plea a lot of them out. Fine.
Yeah.
But that's not what we're doing.
Right.
And we're getting hired, we're getting paid, and we're going to do the trial.
Yeah, for your energy and the time that you're dedicating to
There's
it.
that thing, and it's not even like over time you realize you're not really getting paid enough to do the work, right? Because it's expensive.
Mm-hmm.
Attorneys don't get paid enough for how much energy.
Yes.
How much, because you're defending people. These people can just now let their attorney do the work.
Mm-hmm.
And people don't think of that and the energy that an attorney will expend to help someone.
Yes.
And that's not appreciated.
Mm-hmm.
And it's sad because people think that attorneys only care about money, but it's not that. We care about what we're doing. We love to do what we're doing, but we should get paid.
Right.
So that's an interesting play because I can feel that when you're talking about that. So it's like, so they're paying you what most people would consider plenty of money. They're paying you enough, right? But you're literally, I would imagine, night and day putting your heart and soul into this. There's not you're
the defending of the client because we really want it. And so every day. It's in us.
And that's why you're winning.
Yeah.
Because you're literally like taking it on as it's your own family member that's on trial, and you're going to do what's right and like follow the law and make sure that they get a fair trial and a fair judgment.
This is the epitome of a business athlete as a pro athlete. Like when you look at the best athletes out there, they dedicate their lives night and day to the recovery, to the training, to the nutrition, to the mindset, to the meditation, to the practice, to the film. Like they are students of the game completely, and it never stops. And that's the same thing with what you were doing with business too. It was like night and day, doing all these business meetings, doing all these things on top of that, then being a parent when you could. But it was like there was a lot of sacrifice to do that all in. And it's hence why you transition now to an estate attorney.
Yes.
And what was that point where you're like, I'm done? Was it like a clear cut, like no more, or did it kind of transition?
I guess it was a transition over 5 years of seeing my partner's health deteriorate and how much I had to do and how much I was going to have to do once he did pass.
Was the stress of the defense, the position itself, a contributor to his health? Did you notice?
I think it was.
Yeah.
It causes, like, you need to have like good life all around. Yeah. Everything. And you have to be intentional about that. And that's why I went to see you because I knew I wasn't doing what I needed to do to be healthy. And I just didn't know how, because I was used to eating Mexican food. I love Mexican food.
I love Mexican food too.
And margaritas. And, we were going to lunch and doing that. And it just wasn't good for me. And I didn't know. I mean, I love to eat it. So, but just all of that and mindset, everything, I know it was affecting him. He couldn't pull out of a negative mindset at one point.
Well, and I mean, we were just talking about this too, that book, The Body Keeps Score. So even if he doesn't think in his mind that it was affecting him, it was affecting his body if he wasn't taking care of himself.
I could see it, and you couldn't help him. Mm-hmm. You couldn't get him to flip.
Yeah.
Bring to something positive. It couldn't flip. So yeah, you think of the stress of you're overworking yourself because of the amount of work it is and what it takes to be a criminal defense attorney, and then how unappreciative some of the clients can be, and how stressful the environment is just in the courtroom when you don't even think it is, but it is.
Yeah.
It is affecting you. When you get guilty and I didn't take it that way, but he would be so upset. It would bother him so much. Yeah. It took him a day or two to get over it. And he knew, but to have it affect you that deeply is a huge stress on the body, right?
Yes.
And then, if you're going home and not feeling a good environment, then, everything just affects. You're just not figuring out to make.
Yeah.
It starts to catch up with you over time.
Yeah.
Well, and I mean, obviously in my hypnosis training and all my psychology background, there's a place where you have to make a decision to want to change and reframe your mindset.
Right.
And you couldn't do that for him. I can't do that for a spouse, a kid, whatever. Yeah. You're going to give them the tools, but in the end, you're just facilitating a mindset change. It's like you went to Justin because you were ready for a change.
Right.
And you had that in you, that ability to want the change. And so unfortunately, he wasn't able to have those boundaries, change his frame of mind and move forward. But it's something that in any job, anybody needs to think about how do you have your boundaries? Yeah. What's actionable for you versus not, and really come into yourself and your own intuition, which we all shut off.
Yeah. And I remember there are times when we could have gotten a case that would have paid a lot of money and someone else would get it, and how it would affect. And so it's just all energy. What are you thinking? I never knew what he was thinking in those moments.
Yeah.
It was affecting him so much. And how, I don't know, I could attract a case that was high paying or whatever, but it still would be a delay in the payment, right? So all those things, I was just noticing. I just noticed all these things, and that's why now I understand how we can pull things to us if we didn't have the blocks, if we didn't have the limits, if we didn't think negatively about certain things.
Well, and I have a question, and we're in our society, we're moving more towards collectively coming together. And so there'll be more partnerships with companies. There'll be more people that are coming together collectively to solve a problem. It's going to, in my opinion, is that it's the only way that as the human race, we're going to outrun some of the AI that's going on, right? The question, though, becomes how do you know that the people who you're partnering with and stay aligned, that they all have the same energy level and are thinking positive things?
Here's what I'm realizing even just now. If you're attracting them, if they're in your environment, they're the people.
Okay.
If you feel uncomfortable with them, then they're not your people and you won't want to be around them.
And don't push it.
And you will just decide not to be around them.
But yeah.
So like how I don't know, manifested or attracted Justin into my life, how I attracted you into my life. We knew instantly, we just clicked, right?
Yeah.
In meeting and then progressing to we're going to do these things together. We're still working together and we're still clicking and we're still having the same vision, right?
Yeah. And it gets bigger and better.
Yeah.
Yeah, it gets more solidified.
And we're all working together for that, right? Like I could see that my partner at one point, I'm telling him things, but if he's not willing to listen, take some advice about certain things to change or be different, he's just going to go down that path and I can't go.
Right. That's right.
This is, I mean, the philosophy in life, when you come down to it, it's surrendering. And it's like no attachment in the context of people work through this so much and you have the ability to detach yourself in the criminal defense position where other people wouldn't be able to.
Right.
Right. And it's just so your success, you were able to capitalize on that success, grow from that. And it's the same thing with any relationship where it's like, whether it's a conversation, the need to be right, letting that go and detaching, or there's a point in the fork in the road where you and your partner had to go separate ways. And it was kind of forced upon it.
And it's interesting because it's like we always talk about the universe and forcing you if you're not going to make the right decision. And unfortunately, that's what happened, right?
I have plenty of those.
And you already knew well before that there was like this energy disconnect, but you liked,
everything shifted.
You appreciated what he had to offer you so much. And you still to this day, I mean, I think our first podcast, you got emotional over it.
Yeah.
You clearly have a place in your heart for him. And
17 years.
Yeah.
Probably together almost every single day.
Yeah.
We were working all the time for at least 10 or more of those years, working every day together.
Yeah. And you gave up so much of your, you gave up so much of your like free time.
Yeah.
Even.
Yeah.
So
that was your life.
Yeah.
He was my life. I mean, social, everything. And he was fun to be around. So until it wasn't fun anymore.
Right.
So, yeah.
I mean, it's like it's really is what life will do to you when it's over and you keep hanging on to it, not surrendering, not letting go. Life will push you.
Right. You'll either be pushed or you'll make the decision. Right. And that's where I guess the strength of knowing who you are and what you want and how you'll move forward being who you are. Yeah. So like a lot of realizations I get even now. So it's a growth thing. Over time, you're getting realizations about how you're going to live life and who you're going to deal with and who you're not going to and how you're going to just progress and protect and take care of yourself.
Mm-hmm. Which leads me to my next question about money. From a mindset perspective, do you think money is the opposite, like wealth is the opposite of being poor? So you're either wealthy or you're poor, or do you think you're either wealthy or you're living in fear?
And so that's where I want to go back to the personality of the clients I had and how they could still be happy in the midst of a negative thing that was happening to them, right? So I think wealth or abundance was never money. It was always energy. Can you still be happy in whatever's going on? And can you overcome this situation? Because your mindset's still thinking, how do I get out of this? Someone wants to charge me or accuse me of something. Am I going to get someone to help me? And am I going to believe I can get someone to help me? Just like I said, I want help and you can help me. It's the same thing. So that's everything in life. And so I think if you don't have that, which maybe my partner somehow lacked somehow, then you don't have anything, because the money will come if you have the strength of mind, right? Strength of, I can get through anything that someone puts me through if it's a negative thing, if I decide it's a negative thing, because I can decide it's.
Yeah, it's interesting. So when I was a little kid, I didn't know any of this clearly. I wasn't taught it, but I used to get really mad at myself because I would say I would go on the roller coaster. So like I would get like a high with like my friends. I'd be like invited to a cool party or whatever. And then like 2 days later, I was like on cloud 9. And then like 2 days later, I don't know, boyfriend broke up with me or something. And I was like super low, or I got in trouble for something. And I was like, how come you can't just live your life on the highs? Well, what I didn't realize was as I was going through all of those, like that roller coaster is what I called it was teaching me how to have a strong mind and realize that this is all in your head. Like tomorrow is going to be so much better than today.
Any experience that maybe someone can say is a negative experience is just clarity, right? So you look at that situation, and I think he's mentioned it to me before, something like you can say, thank you for that.
Yeah.
Because then I learned this from that and I get more clarity about what I want.
It's just a stepping stone to even greater success.
Those highs and those lows, if we're judging that as good and as bad, because each one is a judgment, one's more preferred, right? It feels good. It's exciting.
Yeah.
There's going to be a low. There's going to be a hangover. And then because you were at that high, attached to that high, well, now that you got to balance out, and it's going to lead you to a low. And then you're like, why does this keep on happening to me? Or you keep on judging it as bad versus that gratitude. So you mentioned the frequencies of feelings, right? It's like you got this anger, this shame, this guilt, these low frequency feelings. If you get to gratitude, that's like the foundation where the seed grows.
Yeah.
And so you get to that state above anger where you're like, all right, I'm thankful for this happening, understand where the anger came from or the trigger came from. And then you lead into these.
It's like, I'll give you, so when I think about it in my youth, right? I would get yelled at, probably for something really stupid. I don't even know, but I deserved being yelled at, right? I don't know. Maybe I took the car out and it was too late and I missed curfew. Okay. Well, then my parents would come and scream and yell at me, put me on this frequency. First, I was on joy, like, ooh, I was out having fun. Like it was like freedom and I was doing a great thing.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden I get yelled at and I'm being shamed and told that I did a bad thing and I broke the rules and all of these things. And now all of a sudden, unknowingly, my parents are pushing down my vibration.
Yes.
And now, knowing what I know now, if I could tell another 16-year-old, this is okay. Be grateful for the fact that you had those experiences, that your parents care enough about you, that they're going to be worried and that, you might get a little, some kind of consequence, but just be grateful for the entire situation that you have. And don't lower your frequency just because of this one thing that happened. And that's what you're really saying. And
that's the thing. Like, how can you strengthen mindset, right? How can everyone do that for themselves to decide, this is what I want, this is what I'm experiencing right now, not have it be something that brings their frequency down because they're learning from it and then they can do something different.
Well, and it's like whether you're on death row, right? And you're seeing these people be able to really carry on this mentally strong mindset, or you're going through a divorce, or you're going through a death, or you're going through a marriage, or you're going through a birth or of a child or whatever it is. It's all these things that are like highs and lows. And how do you mentally prepare yourself for them? Right.
Something that came to mind is how, speaking of mindset, like when you get a client and I'm assuming if they're being tried, they're still in jail while they're going to court.
So here's the thing. So some of them can pay a bond and get out, and so the bonds are set at different amounts, like 50,000, 10, 15,000, whatever. So if they can't pay, they will be in jail. Like why one of them 4 years in jail waiting to go to trial because he couldn't pay the bond because it was, but there may have been, but it may have been high. So yeah.
Have you noticed like in that environment, the mindset shift in your clients going through that process?
Yeah, it's a difficult thing for them to be in jail, but it's still, some of them can handle, some of them can't. Some of them already have here's a story.
Yeah.
One of the murder trials we were on, Kendall County, and meeting that guy, he was very quiet, but hearing his story or talking to him, I realized he was already in fear of how is he going to take care of himself? How is he going to have a place to live? And then he ends up charged with something where he's now in an environment where he's being taken care of. He's being fed. And I'm thinking, what the hell?
Mhm.
Like, he was so worried and now he doesn't have to worry, but what a way to not worry, because you're in a situation no one would want to be in. But maybe he was better.
Yeah, there are some people who are actually prefer it because they're fed. They have a place to stay.
You can watch some TV, you get some sunshine.
Super crime and get put back in, and then you have something. You do have the small percentage.
I mean, if you look at it that way, you do have the security, right? You don't have to worry about like, where's my next meal going to come from? How am I going to get a cell phone so I can get a job? And I mean, there's so many. What's sad is I don't think people who are in those situations understand there's so many programs and organizations that are willing to help you get up on your feet and
I figure this out without just worrying so much. Like, people don't realize how much they worry can affect their environment, their life, what they keep experiencing. It's stop worrying. That doesn't even help you.
Yeah.
So are we going to take steps to have a plan? Like, why estate planning? Are we going to plan to not be, poor at the end of our life and struggling? Are we going to plan for wealth? This is all intention and planning. And so people that are committing crimes because they feel lack, it's like, well, let's not feel lack. Let's have a plan.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm going to go to work, and there's so many stories of people that are able to come out of these communities and have a plan and set intentions and work towards the goal that they've set to build wealth, to build money, to think about things besides just murder, rape.
And and we've advanced our society so much. I mean, one of the companies that I was considering, I didn't, but for a few reasons, but I was considering investing in, they actually click on to a lot of the applicant tracking systems. And it's like a philanthropy thing where they figure out like what's causing these applicants not to fully apply or to get the job, and they'll connect with nonprofit coaches that'll say, well, okay, is it childcare? Well, we can help get childcare for free through this organization. Or is it a cell phone because they're not able to call in if they're sick or whatever? Well, now there's organizations that will give those people cell phones. Is it transportation? They'll help them with transportation, but people don't even know that's out there.
But that's the thing. Like, if you're in your world and you're saying, I need this, I need that, then start setting a plan. Okay, how can I figure out how to get it? Because there's a way.
There is a way.
It goes back to your clients who come in with this big cloud over their head, so to speak, of a situation, but they're still bright.
But those
trying to find a way
but you probably didn't even see a lot of the people who were like super down in the dumps because they couldn't even get to you because they had to pay for you. They were being publicly defended.
Yeah.
Got it.
Even some try to get the free, and they probably get it. So that's why intention and belief in what you can get. You at least have to try to get the free attorney, the criminal defense attorney. That's the best one, and see if they'll do it for free.
Well, and I would say don't even. I hate the word try because you don't try, you do it.
You just do it. Right.
Go and do it and figure it out and find.
And their mindset has to shift, though, right?
Yes.
And we have to keep in mind their mindset is not that.
Mm-hmm.
They're not, this can happen, that can happen. And it's lack, it's victim mentality, defend mentality. No one wants to help me mentality.
Yes.
Shift it.
So,
right?
So your partner, 30 years in the game, he was obviously, from cop to DEA agent, now defense lawyer.
Yeah.
His certainty in this game was probably at the top.
Yeah.
And so you were around this, and so your environment ended up, it's contagious. Like, this energy is contagious.
Yeah.
These assumptions that people have, right?
You have to keep in mind, we had a case, I think it was a murder of a police officer. So the courtroom's full of police officers
Yeah.
and their uniform.
Mm-hmm.
And he's in this. I didn't care. He didn't care. We're defending our client. I'm guilty, but just going to get the witnesses. I have to go and get these officers and say, hey, come, it's your turn. I didn't care. They want to make their comments. And my partner goes into a restroom and you hear everyone.
Yeah.
No one's there for you. They're there for the other side and they don't like that you're defending someone.
What a training ground to just not give a fuck.
Right. That's why I was like, people don't know who I am because I look so sweet and I'm nice to people, even my family. Like, they have no idea. It's like, do you realize what I did for a living? Mm-hmm. And so you think you could just act a certain way or do a certain thing and I'm just going to keep being nice? No.
Yeah, don't judge a book by its cover.
Yeah.
No. So
True.
Like that's something that, have you read The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck?
Yeah.
Have you read that? That's a great book. And that's... So, yeah, seriously,
because they do care so much.
Yeah, it's true.
They care so much. That's why they're defending and victim and blah.
Did you give them that book?
No, they did it on their own.
That's wow.
There's tons of books.
Yeah.
Well, you got nothing but time to work on yourself, which is a blessing in and of itself.
You do.
If you use the time wisely. Yeah. So, yeah, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck is all about, we have only so much room to give.
Yeah.
Or so many fucks to give in this world, in this life, right? So we got to pick and choose and be selective of that. And sometimes we put all our buckets in the work bucket, right? So we give too much about work, but then we start dismantling in the family and other personal stuff and health. And that's when burnout occurs. That's when this.
People are not realizing the health part. We're like forgetting that part while we're going through our life and we're also stressed. The courtroom's stressful. Everyone's working so hard there and we're eating whatever the hell.
Right.
We're not even thinking about it.
It sounded like a party in between. Like you worked hard, play hard.
Well, I mean, and isn't that ironic? You work hard, play hard, but what you don't understand, and what I was guilty of this too, where you're going, because you're working so hard, you don't have time to cook your own meals. You're going out you're going out to dinner and then you're like, well, screw it, I'll have a bottle of wine. And then before you know it, you don't really feel that good the next day, but you're pushing your body to go through. And
then don't forget the stimulants the next day to actually get you going again. Yeah.
He was drinking.
Oh,
that was like cocaine. Damn.
God, no.
I'm like, this
is a party.
Way better. It was a DEA.
I know. That's the funny thing. People thought he was high, but he was high on Coca-Cola.
Yeah, well, they used to have
sugar in one of those stupid little glass bottles.
And way back when, Coca-Cola put cocaine in theirs.
And I'm like, what the hell?
They've done studies on this with rats, right? Where they put sugar in water and then versus the cocaine in water, and the rats will prefer the sugar.
There's a Huberman podcast. He did a whole thing about that. It's really interesting.
It is cocaine for the masses.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so we're not realizing because it's pushed and it's understood okay to do, right? So we're all doing it, not realizing hurting our bodies. And we're going to get to an age where our body's not going to care anymore.
Right. Yes.
So I think with if I were to encapsulate like what this podcast, this portal is about, is getting from competitive plane to creative plane, where it's not so hustle, because we all have been through the hustle, grind, sacrifice, omit this, put all my fucks into this bucket and do all that. Right. And then we get humbled and then we're like, okay, how do I
going that way?
It takes a few times, but then you get to a point where how do you reach that level of success by doing less, in the sense of, I call it going hard on making it easy, where it's like, it's the mindset, it's what you're focused on, it's assuming the outcome, but then you got to take action, but what kind of action versus driving yourself down to the ground and burning yourself out on that. So,
when I even started with my partner, I think he kept saying to me over time, it was faith. We both had faith.
Yeah.
Huge.
We were going to do well. We were going to succeed because you're building a practice together, starting over. He was starting over. I'm just starting. So there's a faith you have in creating everything you do. And I think we discussed it before, where everyone is a business owner. Even though you're an employee, you decided to stay there for, I don't know, however long you decide to stay there. But you're pretty much your own business. You just decide to stay in this environment. If you didn't want to, you could just move on to another.
Mhm.
On a daily basis, we were being interviewed or interviewing clients. That's how it was. So that's just life.
Yes.
So question for you both. How would you define faith? How would you define faith?
It's just a belief in whatever you set out to do, you can do it. And you just move forward that way. And that's how I did it with everything.
How would you define it?
My definition of faith is knowing that there's higher frequency or being or purpose for all of us, and having the mindset and embodying not only your mind, your heart, and your body, but also your soul into everything that you do.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that sitting and not talking is really underrated. So if you have faith, then the world will come to you in the way that you need to have it come to you in that time. And that's true faith. It's realizing that you have everything you need today, and that's bad. You can't worry about what tomorrow is going to bring. I think we did. Yeah. And so it's like to have true faith is to be able to sit in your present moment and realize that you are fine, whether you're in jail, whether you're on trial,
Right.
whether you're sitting here in a podcast room, whatever it is, whether you're in your car driving to work or you're in your kitchen fighting with your significant other thinking life's going to never be the same. Get out of it, realize what you have in the present, and have that faith raise your vibration to match our creators.
I love you.
I would use an analogy. Faith is like knowing that the moon and the sun will rise and fall,
Yep.
Right.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Belief is having an idea and thinking that it'll turn out, but not being so sure as the sun or the moon coming up or down. Not as sure as your breath, right?
Yeah.
And it's assuming that we will just have this day and the next day and the next day and the next day. The sun will rise, the sun will fall. I'm able to breathe. I have water. I have shelter. These, whatever assumptions you may have, like that's faith. But the true test of faith is when you have an idea, something within your heart, you hear it, you feel it, you know it's there. That's faith. And being able to step forward without seeing the next step or the next two steps, but being able to put your foot forward, like walking up your stairwell at night. You do it every day without lights on, but you know it's there. That's faith.
Mm-hmm.
And being able to do these things are easy. We're talking about conceptually, but to do those things where, hey, leave your job to start that consulting business, or to go do that thing that we've been talking about for 3 years and to actually go and do it, to jump off the cliff and trust that the water is going to be deep enough for you to catch you. Like that's the next level.
Well, and when you're doing that, the one thing that I would say is, just because I have dealt with people for specifically in their jobs and moving on to start a company or change jobs, and it can be really scary. The one thing is, and it's so hard to do, is cancel all of the negative thoughts, because those negative thoughts will hinder your success.
Why it's like, be careful who you're around, who you're telling what you're doing to, and they can bring in.
Oh yeah, the oversharing. I've been guilty of that myself, and it just hinders things.
Forget it. I didn't do everything by telling people what I'm doing. Right?
Yeah.
I like
So
this.
It's so true. I didn't tell anybody about my company until I started really doing well.
Yeah.
And I was just in it. I was just doing it because I'm like, I know how to do this. I have the experience. I know what I need to do.
Right.
And as soon as you start talking about it, the naysayers come in.
Yeah, they come in your head, and it's like, you better be strong to not let them affect you, but that's hard, right? And I like this one quote I hear is that if you can envision it, it's already done.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's what it is. You have to have the faith that it's already done. This is what I want. I'm picturing it. This is what I'm working towards. There's no problem. I'm going to enjoy the journey to my goal.
Mm-hmm.
And it's already done. So what's the problem? Why can't I enjoy it, right?
and cancel all those negative thoughts because they're not what's going to happen. Or if you want them to happen, maybe continue to think them.
Yeah. And you're creating it. You're creating your life and your environment, what your life is. We all did it already, right? We know that's how you do it. You decide, this is what I want. You have it.
It's interesting. I'm going through hypnobirthing training, and I'm doing that because I really believe that one of my core values and reasons why I'm even doing this podcast is to save the children. And so I do things and I educate myself on understanding how do I reduce the amount of trauma that is coming into our world. And so I've been doing this hypnobirthing training, and what I'm learning is that the power of the woman's body is so amazing. And we put our women and our mothers into these hospitals and take their power away. Right. And so women are goddesses that know exactly what to do to give birth. Right. We've had issues where birthing has been not so wonderful. And yes, we have places that will help women so that you don't die during childbirth and stuff now, but that's so few and far between. We're put into this fear thing.
I was going to say, it sounds like a scare tactic more than anything.
How do we monetize giving birth? Okay.
Yes.
We got to tell
there's a documentary on that.
You got to watch it. You got to tell me.
I think it's on Netflix. I forget what it's called, but it's basically like, you are scheduled at this time and you need to have birth at this time. If you don't within the next 24 hours, we're going to induce it, or you're going to go through a C-section, which is more money for the hospital and the medical system.
That's the injury.
And I'm sorry, this might be too much information, so close your ears. But when the baby's going through the birth canal, it's the most beautiful thing that life does, because it gives them, the baby, like the right mitochondria.
Yeah, there's a whole and the bacteria and everything. Yeah.
Yes, and when you do that when you pull a baby out through a C-section, they don't get that. Yeah. And so right then and there, we're creating trauma in our children. Yeah. And now it's just increased in all the other trauma that they're going to have in their life, and it's things that they have to work to help get rid of so that they can get to a higher consciousness. So let's get our children, let's do it from birth or while they're in the womb. Even there can be trauma in the womb too, which I'm learning, but it's really cool, like how we have to give our power back to ourselves and our bodies and all of the natural things that we were given, and all of our power and our magic that's been taken away.
Right. And it's like, get back to basics and stop and see how everything has been monetized for a reason, and it's like hindering us.
Yes.
How can we just do things differently and just be aware of these are the things they set up in place, and how can we change them, and how can we just be better?
Back to kind of like everything that we're encompassing here, the idea of like the music industry and what they're pushing that's popular. And you hear all these, we've talked about this in our sessions, where it's like, these songs of sorrow and pain and lack and all these things.
Hold on. Can I just say one thing about sorrow, and I'll swear I'll be quiet. Why, when you say I'm sorry, what are you saying? I'm sorrow. I'm in sorrow. So stop teaching your kids to say, I'm sorry. Mm-hmm. It's the words we speak. Okay, go ahead.
No, it's like we're giving pain a voice. Mm-hmm. So I see this in strength training all the time. Somebody who has the ability to push through the reps and to like embrace the pain as something beneficial, as something good, as something growth orientated. You're not giving pain a voice. You're giving the beneficiary or the benefactor the voice, right? So it's like, okay,
someone saying, oh, this is so hard. It hurts so much.
I can't do this. I'm tired. You give every reason and rhyme why you can't. And here's the art and science to everything is like, there is a time to back off. There is a time to hold off. There is a time to rest. Yeah. But there's also like, okay, what have you been doing? Probably resting, backing off, and giving excuses the entire time, giving pain a voice. And like you said, I'm sorry, I'm sorry.
That's what happened to me. I loved working out, and then I had my hip pain, and I gave it a voice. Mm-hmm. I leaned on it. Now, there was a serious issue going on.
Yes, this is where you got to get into like, okay, yes, there's something going on here. Yeah. You're dealing with something. Don't ignore it.
But I embodied the pain, and even to this day, I went I still am like, my hip hurts still. And it's like, your hip should not be hurting 2 years after. It's like, I embodied that.
Mhm.
Right. And so then we have to reflect, right? Why do we embody it, or what are we getting out of it? What does that mean? And what am I not facing or reflecting on? Because why he knows what it means, then you can reflect on it.
Well,
right?
you told me, I think the hip, you knew, they're not moving forward or in the wrong direction or something.
So the hip, the knee, the ankle, the foot, those are all associated with moving in the wrong direction.
Yeah.
So it could be so minute. Like you can make it so big and be like, okay, I'm not moving in the right direction in business, or I'm not moving in the right direction with a relationship.
Well, it's paying attention. It's what we do is we shut off our intuition, and it's paying attention. And so I can tell you now, when my hip is hurting, it's when I'm around the wrong people.
Well,
I can't sleep at night because I'm thinking like, what the hell did I just have that business meeting about? And then I'm still going to push myself to keep doing it.
You're beating yourself up for it too. So and then it's like, but you open up to that and go, oh, I understand the pain now. I understand why this came about. It starts to go away.
And then what do I do about it? And so it's like, it's not so easy to be like, oh, I'm in business with these people. And like, how do I get out of it? Like,
right. How do you envision yourself out of it?
Yes. Or advising them or whatever. Yeah. It's an interesting.
And that's the hard thing people have. Like, a lot of people are living lives they don't want to live, and they don't see a way out. And that's why I think where we could come in and give them a vision for a way out.
Yep.
You know, with what we're trying to offer.
And it goes back to what we're offering is an ability to surround yourself with like-minded people, right? And so I was on a podcast the other day called The Rise of Us, and she asked what's my I don't know, it was like my advice to business owners. My sole advice is to surround yourself with 3 trusted people that will make you better, that are like way better than what you are. And those 3 people you will become.
Yeah. That really is the formula right there, is like who you surround yourself with. You're the net worth of who you surround yourself with in all ways. It's like what you are interested in and what you're interested in, it's going to be contagious around everybody else.
And I think that's an ever-changing thing.
Oh, it is.
It's growing.
Yeah.
So we have to keep doing it. And I also always used to tell my partner, don't you think we should keep having goals? That's how people can feel excited about their life, is keep having something to look forward to. You just stay home and depressed and do nothing and have no plans to do anything. Yeah, you're just going to stay there. But if you have a goal you're working toward that you're excited about,
There was a YouTube documentary, you can look this up, called The Wolfman.
Yeah.
And it's an old National Geographic documentary, 40 minutes. And this guy grew up raising animals, and then he was working for the zoo and inherited 3 wolf pups. And he brought them up, like fed them milk. He was teaching them all the different howls, all this stuff that he knew and grew up with, all the intricacies of how to build up a wolf pack. And he was the alpha wolf. And so he had to every day go into the pen where they were staying and put on a jumpsuit because he smelled a certain way. And the reason why is he was explaining that these wolves are constantly checking each other. The wolf pack is always sharpening each other up and testing each other for each other's roles. So when he was eating with them, he would grab the liver, and then one of the beta wolves would come in to try to snatch the liver, and he would get up in their face and snarl at them with his teeth. And he would show them off, and then she would get all cute and fall on her back. But he's like, they're always testing you to be, are you the alpha? Are you the defender? Are you the scout? So these roles were constantly being tested, not out of like, it's essential for the pack. Yeah. And so like, we kind of lose that in society nowadays,
right,
where it's like, we're dependent upon technology, AI, and all these other things that are around us, where it's like,
well, I think
to not check each other, that's a flaw that we're missing here.
You do have to check each other, but I also, and I'll throw a little wrench in the whole idea about it, is if you think, my viewpoint on our evolution is that animals are on like a 2D plane. They have a pack, they have a way of survival. That's all they're thinking about. And that's kind of where they're at. And then as humans, we've rose up to like a 3D plane and a 3D vibration. And we're really close with the AI and all the tools that we have. And if you're willing to utilize those things and move your vibration up to 4D, there is an opportunity very soon to move that up. And I do think that there'll be then once we're up at that level, there's not going to need to be necessarily so much of a leader pack mentality as this kind of, I know people throw this around, but more like a hive thinking. But what our purpose is to remember our purpose and not lose who we are as an individual in that hive way of thinking in that 4D reality that we're moving to. And so going back to like what you're talking about with getting the three, like having 3 people around you, it's the 3 people around you. You have to think differently about it. It's the 3 people that are going to elevate your thinking to be more creative, to be more in a love vibration.
That's the check-in I'm talking about here is like, it's not you to be the leader here and then she's the defender, but more so like, hey, get on the creative plane more.
Yeah.
Like start thinking a little bit higher.
But
Get up there.
The thing, like with being with people and knowing this is your group, right? And maybe there's a leader at one point, but it may shift at another point.
Yeah.
And the only thing that's happening is because you're together and you're absorbing each other's information and energy.
And you're bringing
you can
it.
elevate too. You can be that leader at one point.
Yeah.
And we just keep elevating.
Well, and some people I do believe are more on this earth to be a leader, to get people to get to the next level. But I do think you're the leader of your own world.
Right.
So you're leading. Yeah. You might need somebody to give you a little bit of effort into like, what's your next action item? Like, okay, keep me on track here.
A little bit of just a different frame of mind.
Yes.
Why we can all keep elevating, like why in the group we're in. I just think like I'm learning so much from everyone else that knows what I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
So that can elevate you. Everything can.
Well, and even think about a leader like for most of our listeners, like a CEO of a company, right? Everybody's like, oh, they're the leader. No, they're not the fucking leader. They have a board of directors to report to. And guess what? Those board of directors, there's not a leader on that board of directors. I mean, everybody has a point. Your vote counts. And it's a committee, just like I don't know, the disciples, like you have to have different viewpoints to make the best decision. And so, yeah, there's this leader, but this leader's not going out like being gung-ho. That's why they put boards into place so that they can stabilize the company and all of the people that are in there and protect them and protect the idea that they're all rallying around.